Have you ever wondered why we tolerate small discomforts until they become unbearable crises? The answer lies in an old parable that speaks more truth today than ever before. On a crisp autumn morning, a green frog with speckled skin discovered a serene pond at the edge of a human settlement. The water was clear and cool, reflecting the golden sunlight as it rippled gently in the breeze. Without hesitation, the frog leaped in, making the pond his new home. Life was peaceful for many days. The frog would catch flies, bask in the sunlight on a lily pad, and swim through the refreshing waters whenever he pleased. He made friends with the dragonflies and water beetles, establishing a comfortable routine in his idyllic home. Unknown to the frog, the pond sat near a factory that had recently changed its operations. Each day, warm water from the factory's cooling systems trickled into the pond, raising the temperature by a fraction of a degree. The change was so subtle that the frog never noticed. As days passed into weeks, the water grew increasingly warm. At first, it was merely a minor change in comfort, like trading a cool breeze for a slightly stuffy room. The frog adjusted without complaint. When the water reached the temperature of a lukewarm bath, he simply spent more time on his lily pad and less time swimming. When it became as warm as a hot summer day, he found himself breathing faster, but attributed it to age rather than his changing environment. Other pond creatures began to leave. The dragonflies departed first, followed by the water beetles. "They're overreacting," thought the frog. "This is still a perfectly good pond." By the time the water approached dangerously high temperatures, the frog's energy had depleted so gradually that he lacked the strength to leap out. His muscles had weakened from the constant stress of his warming habitat. What had once been a paradise had transformed into a deadly trap, not suddenly, but through a series of barely perceptible changes that accumulated over time. One morning, a child walking by noticed the struggling frog. With quick thinking, she scooped him out with her butterfly net and placed him in a cooler stream nearby. The frog, though weakened, survived, but just barely. Looking back at his former home, now steaming in the morning light, he finally understood what had happened. We are all frogs in slowly warming ponds. Consider how we adapt to deteriorating work conditions. First an extra email after hours, then weekend work becomes normal, until suddenly we realize we haven't had a true day off in months. Or how we tolerate small environmental changes. Less songbirds this year than last. Hotter summers that we combat with stronger air conditioning rather than addressing the underlying causes. Think about the relationships that erode not through dramatic conflicts, but through neglected conversations and accumulated small resentments. Or the health warnings we dismiss, that twinge in your back, the increasing fatigue, the gradually tightening waistband, until they develop into problems requiring intensive intervention. The modern world excels at warming our ponds so gradually that we hardly notice until we're in trouble. Our digital devices demand ever more attention through subtle notifications. Our cities become less livable by imperceptible degrees. Our democratic institutions erode not through revolution, but through small compromises that seem insignificant in isolation. Unlike the frog in our story, we possess the awareness to recognize gradual decline before it becomes catastrophic. Here's how we can develop this crucial skill. Create measurement benchmarks. Just as doctors track vital signs over time, we need personal metrics for work-life balance, relationship health, and environmental quality. What was normal last year? How does it compare to today? Seek outside perspectives. The frog couldn't see his situation clearly, but others could. Regular conversations with trusted friends who will speak honestly about changes they observe in our lives or communities can provide the external viewpoint we need. Schedule regular reflection. Set calendar reminders to assess the temperature of your various ponds, your job satisfaction, your physical well-being, your community's cohesion. Ask yourself, if this trend continues for 5 more years, Where will I be? Practice saying no to small deteriorations. The courage to reject the first but small compromise makes rejecting subsequent ones easier. Boundaries, once established, are easier to maintain than to create anew. Today, identify one slowly warming pond in your life. Perhaps it's screen time that has gradually increased, a friendship that has incrementally cooled, or a community space that has steadily declined. Don't just acknowledge it. Take one concrete action to reverse the warming. Send that message to reconnect. Delete the app that consumes too much attention. Attend the community meeting you've been putting off. Join the cause that addresses the slow-motion crisis you've been watching unfold. Remember, disaster doesn't usually announce itself with dramatic flair. It arrives through 1,000 tiny changes, each too small to provoke resistance. Our power lies in noticing these changes while we still have the strength to leap. The water is warming. What will you do about it?